Welcome back to Second and Short. It is Wednesday, August 9th, 2023, and we're recording real early in the morning, 10:25 a.m. as we speak. It was a late night and now an early morning for the boys. Me and Colin here today. I'm a 20-ounce Red Bull in, and I've got a cup of coffee sitting in front of me. So I'm either going to have a lot of energy or my heart's going to stop halfway through this podcast. We'll just have to see. Colin, how you doing this morning?
We're feeling great. I'm in the same boat as you, man. A lot of caffeine.
That's good. That's good because we've got a hyped up podcast today. We got the MLB recap, and of course, you're going to hear us talk about J Ram and Tim Anderson, but also all of this realignment news in college football that came out in this past week. We got to talk about it. Then we'll hit the Pac-12 preview, NFL news, and we'll round it out with a stake your claim. Colin has not gotten to do a stake your claim in a while, so figured we'd give him a shot. So, Colin, you ready to get into this?
Let's do it.
All right, we're starting with J Ram and Tim Anderson. Let's set it up. All right, Jose Ramirez hits a double, slides into second. Tim Anderson, puts the tag on. Jose's safe, whatever. Then they start exchanging words. And then about a second later, squaring up, Tim Anderson drops the glove, hockey style, and just starts going at Jose Ramirez. Probably lands, 1-2 shots on him. And as Michael Kopech is pulling him off, pulling Jose off, he just blindly swings and just hits Tim Anderson flush and just knocks him out straight down to the ground.
He just lands one punch and Tim Anderson's on his ass.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Like you said, Tim Anderson, I think it was about 2 or 3 body shots that he got off onto Jose Ramirez.
Yeah.
And then Jose Ramirez just lands that haymaker.
But let's be honest, why are you taking like body shots in a baseball fight?
And especially on a guy like Jose Ramirez.
Yeah,
you know he's gonna be able to take those.
He's got a lot of body to work with.
But no, this just puts the icing on the cake with how bad Tim Anderson's season has been this year.
Yeah, and just to make this fight better, the Cleveland radio call. Oh my God, I don't remember the broadcaster's name, but shout out to him because he called this one perfectly. And I will never, every time I see Tim Anderson now, in my mind, I'll just be replaying Down Goes Anderson.
Yeah, dude, I thought I was watching a UFC fight there for a minute, the way the announcer was going.
Yeah, like Joe Rogan would, like his eyes would be popping out of his head watching this one.
Yeah, it was just one of those moments that you're like, what is going on right now?
Yeah.
But it's that energy that sometimes you miss in baseball because like this used to happen a lot back in the day.
But you don't really see it on the base paths. You typically see it like pitcher hitter. And seeing it on the base path like that was interesting. And like Jose said that, like, through an interpreter, of course, that Tim Anderson had disrespected the game for years and blah, blah, blah. So obviously these two do not like each other.
Yeah, I just want to know like what was said because Jose is a very laid back guy.
Yeah.
It's very hard to get him to throw hands. So I just want to know like what Tim Anderson had said.
Yeah, I would love to know what actually happened there. But kind of the resolution of all this, Jose gets a 3-game suspension. Emmanuel Clase got a 1-game suspension. I don't really know what he did.
Did he throw any punches?
I don't know. I haven't seen anything of Clase in this whole situation, but he got a 1-game suspension.
Maybe the Guardians just wanted to suspend him to give someone else a chance to close because he leads the MLB in blown saves this year.
Yeah, that's a good point. But he's also up there in saves, so
he's given us a real Kenley Jansen moment from the Braves, leading in both categories.
Yeah, that was tough. But Tim Anderson got suspended 6 games, but he is appealing it. So in the meantime, he's playing and started off his night yesterday by getting hit by a pitch and exiting the game.
can't make this shit up.
No, it's absolutely crazy. And then the Cleveland High A affiliate team, the Lake County Captains, are having Jose Ramirez Appreciation Week. All fans named Tim get a free ticket to sit down on the grass. But if you wear your Jose Ramirez jersey, you get a free Bam Bam in the cargo hold. There's going to be a home run punch derby and a punch out competition in the 80s arcade at the park.
What the fuck? That's
Dude.
fucking hilarious.
Look, I know, like, this has got to be like a bunch of, like, you know, game day experience interns at the Lake County Captain. Like, you're a high A baseball team. You've got some good marketing interns on your hands. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's like you're making people want to come out just to get this experience and relive what happened.
Yeah.
Between the Guardians and the White Sox, and I love it. I'm here for every second of it.
Yeah, but with all of this happening, it seems like all hell broke loose, and it started with Kenyon Middleton. Recently got traded to the Yankees at the trade deadline, and he got it all started. And I got a couple of quotes from the article I read. He said, "I don't know how you police the culture if there are no rules or guidelines to follow because everyone is doing their own thing. Like, how do you say anything about it because there are no rules?" Obviously speaking about the White Sox organization itself. And said, "You have rookies sleeping in the bullpen during the game. You have guys missing meetings. You have guys missing pitcher fielding practices, and there are no consequences for any of this stuff." Like, how crazy is that? I think the craziest part is guys sleeping in the bullpen.
Yeah, that's like you're playing at the highest level. You gotta set the examples for everybody.
Yeah.
Like
It's crazy.
like you're getting paid to set the standard for Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
So with sleeping in the dugout, missing meetings, like if you like miss a meeting is understandable. But if you're like consistently missing infield meetings and you're not the top guy, like that's just not something you want to do.
Yeah, and Kenyon Middleton is getting right to it. He actually, playing for the Yankees, they just started a series in the south side of Chicago against the White Sox on Monday. So, maybe we'll see something interesting happen. Maybe another fight. Because this led to some names being dropped. But before we get to that, Lance Lynn said that he saw Kenyon Middleton's comments about the White Sox culture problems, and his take was, "I was there a lot longer than Key. He's not wrong."
Damn.
So Lance Lynn showing that, maybe Kenyon Middleton's right. Well, then Shane Riordan, who does Chicago sports radio, shared a story from the locker room that also caused some stir. This is what he said on Twitter. "Grandal wasn't in the lineup the day before the All-Star break and wanted to leave early, made it very clear." Paraphrasing, Tim Anderson said, "Fuck him. If he doesn't want to be here, I'll pay for his flight." Then Grandal walked over to TA, Tim Anderson, who was in the tub, and slapped him across the face. How the fuck you gonna slap a man when he's in the tub?
That's like just the way you said that. It's like you just walked over there and slapped him across the face. Like you're a grown ass man.
Yeah.
If you're gonna hit somebody, close your fucking fist and punch him. Don't slap him like a little bitch.
But you can't hit a guy while he's in a fucking tub.
Yeah, I mean
You gotta at least let him get out.
I mean, if Tim Anderson's gonna act like a little bitch, I guess you can treat him like a little bitch.
Yeah.
But no,
It's crazy.
the White Sox are crumbling, man.
Yeah. And just to add to it, ESPN's Jesse Rogers went on ESPN Radio Chicago and dropped names.
Oh Lord.
He said, "It's the ones you know. Grandal is no friend to the pitchers. Moncada is no hard worker who is there for his team or teammates. And Eloy is kind of happy-go-lucky, but really isn't the hard worker we think he is.
Yeah. I mean, you can definitely tell Moncada is not putting in the work. I mean, what, he's batting 214 this year?
Yeah.
And at the beginning of the season, this was supposed to be like a high power offense. That was supposed to be one of the best lineups in the league.
Yeah.
And my guess is that also Grandal's not showing up to bullpen work to help with pitchers and really get on that same sheet of music. Especially if this guy's going to be your top catcher, you want to be in sync with your pitchers. And you know, that maybe that's Lance Lynn really wanted to get out of there because he was tired of this shit. Their bullpen's one of the worst in the leagues. Could be in like paired up with what's going on.
Yeah, and I think this also kind of starts at the top. When the team isn't holding guys accountable and there is no rules, things like this happen. Things like Yasmani Grandal and Tim Anderson's situation happen. Things like Moncada just kind of getting away with not working hard. Same for Eloy. It just happens because you're breeding a culture of it. And there's no telling how this is going in the lower levels. Is this why we haven't seen a lot of successful prospects coming up? Or other than Luis Robert, not a lot of like success recently has come up through the minors for the White Sox. And I think this could be a part of it.
Yeah, like really, I think the only ones you could really talk about, Andrew Vaughn, and I'm trying to think of the other one. Was it? No, it wasn't Sheets. Sheets got traded to the White Sox, right?
No, I think he might have come up with the White Sox.
I think Andrew Vaughn and
Yeah.
is really, uh, and Michael Kopech.
Yeah, but Michael Kopech's been very
Yeah.
slow.
Yeah, but he had a injury that took him a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, when your higher ups are not holding accountable, this is when you get people who try to hold people accountable in the locker room. Then you start to get your split where you got people who don't want to listen, and next thing you know, you're a locker room divided, and that never ends well.
Yeah, exactly. And Jesse Rogers kind of furthered his point after this, saying that these are the kind of guys that you have to ship off. Like that's the only way to deal with something like this is figure some things out at the management level and ship off the guys that are obviously hurting the clubhouse.
Yeah. Well, heck, now I'm sure we know why Tim Anderson didn't go anywhere. Nobody fucking wants him.
Yeah, that could be definitely a part of it. I think that's probably part of the reason that they didn't really move any position players at the deadline. Really just pitching.
Yeah, so like are we going to get some just released from the club in the off season, or
maybe?
Like I don't know, like Yohan Moncada, he's someone that can be invested in the off season for somebody. Like a Boston, or hell, even like not Cleveland anymore, because I don't think Cleveland's gonna take any White Sox players ever again. But Yohan Moncada still has the skills to be a phenomenal player. He's just got to get the work ethic in check.
Yeah, well, the same goes for Grandal and Eloy. Like, we know that Grandal can be a top tier catcher, a very good hitter, has a great eye at the plate. But for the last 3 years or so, we just haven't seen that at all out of him. And for Eloy, it's like, yeah, he had the injury. Before that, he was pretty good, certainly on an upward trajectory. And now this season, we haven't really seen much.
You know who I think might be this is just straight opinion. I know nothing about it, but who one of the hardest working people in the starting lineup for the White Sox is? And I'm going to go Andrew Benintendi.
Yeah.
I feel like he is the hardest working in that locker room. Heck, I'll even put Luis Robert up there.
Yeah, it seems like those are the two that you never really hear about off the field.
Yeah, and those are the two that having the highest production for the team right now.
Yeah, true.
They're both just under 280. Luis Robert leads in home runs, leads in RBIs. Benintendi's giving them their solid 2 spot right now, which I don't know why he's not batting leadoff.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. But let's move on from this, and let's talk about the Orioles. So they suspended one of their TV announcers, Kevin Brown, for comments that he made on the lack of previous wins in previous seasons. And he brought this up because a graphic was shown on the broadcast. And supposedly, he was specifically told not to comment on this. So why are you showing a graphic on the screen that you don't want the announcers to comment on? Because if you've ever watched local broadcasting or any broadcast of an MLB game, they put a graphic up on the screen and these guys have notes to talk about. Like, it doesn't matter where you watch baseball, what team you're watching. It is always, when they show a graphic on the screen, they're going to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, what, you're just going to show it to the rest of the world, but the announcers just have to stay silent?
Yeah, like why would
Is
you
what we're
even
saying?
put it there in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, these announcers, they get in a groove. They get
Yeah.
rolling when this shit comes on. They don't think twice about what's being said because they're like, "Oh, it's here. We're good to talk about it." Like,
I think
what's
Brandon
going on?
Gaudin has said fuck like 3 times this season.
Yeah, I mean, you got Phillies broadcasters like fucking criticizing Ron Washington
Yeah.
and Marcelo Zuna. What, they don't get any punishment for that?
Nope.
So any announcer can just start shit talking other teams on the live telly. But
It's crazy. But apparently the comments that he made the ownership feel like that it made them sound cheap because, previous years, whatever. This season, the Orioles are 29th in payroll in the MLB.
bro, the guy's not lying.
Yeah, you guys are cheap.
Yeah. But here's the thing. This is like the first year that it's working.
Yeah.
So like look, we can be honest. Ever since the Orioles, got rid of, like, sent Machado off, Adam Jones retired, they've been straight dog shit.
Yeah.
Like, worst in the league. Like, I'm pretty sure they were holding like the worst records there for a little bit. Like, they were the Oakland Athletics back in the day.
Yeah. Well, in case you forgot, they had like 3 years straight of first round picks or first overall picks.
Yeah. It's just we're seeing these guys up now.
Yeah. But
like
it's crazy that they did this because they essentially set him up. Like, I don't believe that they said not to comment on a graphic they put on the screen. I cannot believe that. And like, broadcasters across the league are all backing him on this. Like, guys like Yankees broadcasters Michael Kay and John Sterling, Angels broadcaster Wayne Randazzo, Red Sox announcer Dave O'Brien, their other announcer and former Red Sox Kevin Youkilis, White Sox announcer Jason Benetti, among others, have all been defending him on live TV, on radio, everywhere. And it just seems like this is entirely unfair.
Yeah, they're setting a bad example for broadcasters.
Yeah.
Because it's like now you have to question everything that gets put on the screen. Like, can we talk about this? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, like I remember like just a handful of years ago, even the start of the season last year and the year before, like Chip Carey and Jeff Francoeur, the last 2 years when the Braves didn't really start off all that hot and had to kind of come back and take the division, they were pretty critical of this team, and they were pretty critical of decision-making by Brian Snitker and others. But, yeah, they never really questioned the front office. They questioned more what was going on the field. It's still
Same shit.
Yeah, it's the same thing, and no repercussions because that's part of their job. They're not supposed to sit there and sugarcoat everything. They're supposed to
Yeah,
be there, announce a game, talk about what people want to hear while watching the game. That's what commentary is. It's genuinely talking about what is happening, and that's what was happening. This is what's happening with the Orioles. They're winning now, and they used to not win. Everybody's aware of that.
yeah, they're just stating the obvious.
Yeah, so
So I don't know. I
it's
don't know what
ridiculous.
the Orioles front office is trying to hide,
Yeah,
but there's nothing left to hide, my guy.
exactly.
So we stand behind the Orioles announcer because he's just doing
Agree.
his fucking job.
Yeah, shout out Kevin Brown. Bring him back.
Yeah,
It's bullshit. But let's get into some winners and losers. First winner, and it pains me to say it, the Chicago Cubs.
yeah, dude. Don't they lead the MLB in runs scored since the All Star break?
Yeah, by like 40. It's
And
crazy.
we saw it this past weekend in that
Yeah,
series versus the Braves.
except for one game.
Yeah, was it Friday night when the Braves won 8-0?
Yeah, and then they proceeded
Yeah,
to stomp us on Saturday and Sunday.
yeah. I mean, it's the first time the Cubs won a series against us in years.
Yeah. And look, they started the season 26-36. They're now 58-55, one game out of the wild card in the National League. I think 2.5 games out just on the lead in their division, and they're coming off quite a series win over the Braves. So, if they could get their pitching back on track, because Marcus Stroman's ERA is pretty tough. I believe the
Yeah,
last time I checked, it was a 9.11, not a number you like to see.
yeah. What is that? I showed you that. It was like since the All Star break?
I believe so.
It, no, it was just the month of July. In the
Yeah,
month of July, he posted a 9.11 ERA,
yeah.
which is for a guy who was in the All Star game. And the first half,
He was slated
the
to be the starter for the National League.
bro, the first half, he led the league in ERA, the NL in ERA.
Yeah,
What the fuck? That's like
that's the
I'm
thing.
like I'm speechless.
But this happens all the time with guys like Marcus Stroman, ground ball
Yeah,
pitchers, like guys that just give up contact.
yeah.
It's gonna happen. And there's gonna be
You started
streaks where guys are just gonna hit the ball off of you because you don't really have like the strikeout, blow you away type stuff.
Yeah, and you start to get into some ballparks that don't hold the ball very well. So then you start getting your 2-run, 3-run home runs, and next thing you know, you're giving up 6 runs in one inning.
Yeah, and his home ballpark is notoriously known for runs.
Yeah, we saw that from Matty O this past weekend. Bro, Matt
um,
Olson just absolutely annihilated the Cubs this weekend
yeah,
from his point of view.
yeah, oh yeah, he's absolutely killing it. But let's get to the first loser of the week. It's the New York Yankees. It's been a tough 2 weeks. Last week they were all over the losers part of this segment, but this week I'm putting them all together. They're 4-6 in their last 10. They had some rough games against the Astros, but ultimately split the 4-game series. Judge had a horrible series, 0 for 12 in the series with 6 Ks. Um, they had one game, I believe it was Sunday, where they walked the Astros 12 times while leaving 15 runners on base themselves and lost 9-7.
Jeez.
And this last one is for Luke. Carlos Rodon was once again horrible.
Yeah. Did I see that he got hurt again?
Yes, but he said that he feels good enough that he'll avoid the IL. But yeah, left the game with the injury after 2.2 innings, 3 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Puts his season ERA at a 7.33.
Yeah, I mean, how throw Aaron Boone with that for the shit he put on last night with the umps. Did you see
Yeah.
that?
Oh yeah.
Like just going out there mimicking the umpire and just making a fool of himself.
I do love it
And
though.
yeah, and but not to mention they lost to the White Sox. All
Yeah,
right.
that's tough.
Granted, it was Dylan Cease pitching, and he threw 5 and 1/3 inning gave up 1 hit, no runs, 6 Ks, but he walked 7 batters and still
Oof.
got the win.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Yeah, absolutely brutal. But my next winner, the Dodgers, because they're on the verge of signing highly touted pitching prospect Hyun-Suk Jung, who recently announced that he will not be entering the KBO draft and wants to sign for an MLB team this year. So,
But he's just swapping places with Trevor Bauer.
well, Trevor Bauer's going to play or plays in the Japanese league, not the
Yeah.
KBO. But
I just
same thing.
I just did international. I
Yeah.
take international and MLB, and that's my 2 divisions.
Yeah, and he'll get to play with a Japanese player in Shohei Ohtani next year. So,
Bro, you better stop. If Shohei Ohtani is playing for the Dodgers,
bro, they
I'm
better
done watching
lose
baseball.
I know the only real issue, the only luxury tax type things that actually happen to teams is they get a lower draft pick. If the Dodgers have Shohei Ohtani on the payroll next year, they better lose all of their draft picks.
Yeah, because bro, if you have a top 3 hitters in Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, and Freddie Freeman, like what the fuck? And then you
Yeah.
also have Will Smith, Max Muncy. Like that's terrifying.
Yeah, very much.
Not as good as the Braves, this top of the lineup, but it's up there.
Yeah, it's not like that's 3 former MVPs at the top of the lineup.
All right, why you got to put it in that perspective?
I'm just
Right? I'm
saying.
trying. Oh my god,
It's 3
it would be the
MVPs,
Dodgers. It
3
would be the
World
Dodgers.
Series trophies as well.
It would be the Dodgers to piss me off and land Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, I think you should go to the Giants. That'd be way cooler.
That's what I've been saying.
Getting to see him hit into, Jesus Christ, I'm blanking. The water. McCovey
Was it
Cove.
McCovey Cove,
Jesus.
and then also triple galore
Yeah.
in that
Oh my
corner.
God, hitting into triples alley. Oh man. He already leads the league in triples, and he plays at Angel Stadium.
But here, I just saw something for the Yankees. Looking at some of their stats. Do you know what their run differential in the season is so far?
No. I don't.
0.
Real? Oh yeah. Okay, I did see that earlier. I didn't know if that was a recent thing, but it's I can't remember the numbers, but yeah, it's perfectly even. All of their numbers for some reason are just perfectly even. This
485, 485.
Yeah, that is tough.
And it's that's not a lot.
I think I saw that in their last 200 games, they're 99 and 101. Which is pretty funny.
Fucking Yankees.
But let's move on. My next loser, the Mets, Reds, Diamondbacks, and Angels. All these teams started 0-6 after the All-Star break. The Mets and Reds both picked up a win. The Angels and D-backs haven't been as lucky. But the fact that the D-backs made moves at the deadline, the Angels made 5 moves at the deadline, the Reds were buyers at the deadline. I think they only really made 1 trade, and they were all in the same position as the Mets, who sold away all of their pitching.
Yeah. I mean, the Angels are now 8 games out of the wild card. Behind the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Mariners. So that's going to be a hard deficit to come back from. And then Arizona dropped behind the Cubs and the Marlins, and is just right in front of the Padres. So that's not a good look right now. And the Reds are about to fall out of the wild card race, especially with how hot the Cubs are surging.
Yeah.
So, but like you said with Arizona, if you're out here making moves and the Angels, it's not the Lucas Giolito trade has been horrible so far.
Yeah. CJ Cron.
Has he won a game?
No, I don't think so. CJ Cron and Randall Grichuk look pretty good.
Yeah.
But there's still weak spots in this lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. It's sort of like the lower end in your. I'm trying to think of the players, but really, it's just pitching. Like
Yeah.
these two teams. Like for Arizona, you're just relying on Zach Gallen, and the other games, it's getting blown out of proportion.
Yeah,
Like your
same for the
offense can only do
Angels.
so much. You
You
like
get you
yeah,
get
like
one night of Shohei Ohtani, and then the rest of the week is just a toss up because Reed
yeah,
Detmers
like
really hasn't been that good recently.
yeah, and Giolito was supposed to be your number 2 guy,
Yeah,
but he can't make it through the 4th inning in any of his starts.
yeah,
So, but I will say this, I just because I just saw it. Congrats to Baltimore for becoming the second team to get to 70 wins this year.
yeah, yeah. That's good. And I'm actually about to talk about Baltimore. They're my next winner. Mainly
Okay.
the scouts for the Orioles because, good God, did they get it right with Jackson Holiday?
Oh, dude, that man has been surging through the minors.
Yeah. He looks like a future superstar, and the future does not look very far away. In Double A, 13 games. He's batting 396, an on base of 448, and a slugging of 642. He's got 4 doubles, 3 homers, 5 walks. He's struck out 8 times in 13 games. It's not that bad. OPS of 1090, and might I remind you, he's 19 years old.
Yeah, I mean, you know damn well his dad's like, "You little fuck, you think you can be better than me?"
But, like, holy shit, did they get this pick right? They could have got
Yeah.
Drew Jones instead of him.
Nah, bro. Yeah, Drew Jones is good, and he's
Oh,
definitely
man.
shown improvement. Drew Jones's swing has got so much better from when he was in high school, and
He's still bad, though.
yeah, but I mean, you get him because of his defense. His defense is really good.
Yeah, his defense is good. But across all 3 levels that he's played at this season, Jackson Holiday is now hitting 342 with a 464 on base and a 543 slugging.
Damn.
Telling me he ain't getting pulled up right before the postseason when that roster expands?
Yeah, dude. But yeah, dude, there's another so there's a guy in the Cardinals organization and Victor Scott who in 2 seasons in the minors already has 86 stolen bases.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And just to put it in the 2 seasons is including this season right now.
Yeah.
Uh let's see. Basically in 96 games, he has 86 stolen bases.
Holy shit.
Like what?
Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
Like I just saw that. I saw it on fucking Reddit the other day, and I just wanted to throw that out there that that
Yeah.
man is insane.
Yeah, that is crazy. But let's get to my final loser, Angel Hernandez. He's back
Oh,
after his
this-
rehab assignment that I think
I
he.
s-
I'm just so weird.
I
But
saw that game.
yeah, he missed 23 calls in Sunday's Yankees Astros game.
The amount of like strikes that were called balls that game
Yeah,
was horrible.
there was some ridiculous balls called strikes too. There was one like probably 4 inches high.
Yeah,
Like if the catcher didn't catch it, it was hitting Angel Hernandez in the face if he was standing up.
yeah. I mean, like one of the ones he missed was a belt high right down the middle of the zone, and he called it a ball.
Yeah,
And I saw that, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how can you be this bad?
I don't know.
Like,
I really don't get it.
It's another one of those things that we come back to that you're umpiring. You're supposed to be the highest level on the MLB stage, and you're doing this shit. Like,
Yeah.
you're making it easier for people to just go to the robotic strike zone.
Yep.
Like, it's Angel Hernandez. I'm sorry, but you gotta hang it up, man.
Yeah. My issue is like there's got to be a minor league umpire that's better than him. There's got to be many.
I'm sure there's college umpires or even high school umpires that are better than him. I think I've seen some rec ball umpires that are better than him.
Yeah, maybe a certain guy that you might be talking to right now. Just kidding. I never
I,
went behind the plate in my career.
I was about to say,
The
but you've been out
highlight
of
the highlight of
you've
my
been
umpiring career was throwing out an old man who wasn't related to the 5-year-olds that I was umpiring for.
you gotta you've been out of the game for a minute, but if you
Yeah.
lock back in, I think we could definitely see a bright future for you.
Yeah. Took me
An
about
umpire.
it took me about 4 games of kid pitch to realize that I actually had to call the infield fly rule. Forgot about that. Um
Yeah, I mean
yeah,
you don't have to.
Yeah. So the two highlights, throwing out an old man who was just watching 5-year-olds play baseball and wasn't related to
Yeah.
them, and cursing at me, and almost passing out. I had a 4 games back to back to back to back on a June day in Georgia in 2 shirts and a pair of pants, and I just had to keep doing the games. Didn't get to go get water, and during the end
You're
of
just
like the
irritated with
second
it.
Well, during the end of the second game, I just almost passed out because I couldn't leave the field to go get water.
Damn, no fan brought you water or no coach brought you
Nope.
water? Come on, you got see, this is what I'm talking about. Take care of your umpires, all right?
Exactly. Unless it's Angel Hernandez. Let him die on the field.
No, but I wanna get back to this. So, you never called the infield fly rule? You just assumed that the team would know that it's happening without saying
Well,
anything?
so like the situation never really happened. It was just like um the guy that I was working with on that game didn't ever signal to me, which you're supposed to signal to the infield umpire. Like, everybody has like a signal. Typically, like you have like a signal where like you put your hand like at the top of your head or something like that to know that it's in effect. And he never signaled to me. And I was like, that's weird. And so like I wasn't thinking about it. And then like my 4th game working with this guy, I like talked to him at the beginning. I was like, hey, like I haven't seen you do any kind of signals to me. So I don't know if we're on the same page. He was like, what would I need to signal? And I was like, the infield fly rule, just to make sure that we're on the same page about it. And he was like, oh yeah, typically, everybody just kind of knows. And I was like, really? Because every umpire that I've seen in a game that I've played in signals to each other when there's infield fly rule in effect.
Man, he was just calling you stupid.
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck? I literally before umpiring with that guy, I had only umpired like 4-year-olds.
That's
They
funny.
were like eating dirt.
Man, I've seen some high schoolers that still eat dirt.
That's fair. But
We live in a weird.
no more of my umpiring career because it sucked. Let's talk. I just have a couple of extra news things before we
Yeah.
get into your stuff. But Pablo Reyes of the Red Sox had a game like no other. And I'm serious. Nobody has ever done what he did in a single game. 3+ hits, 3+ runs, multiple extra base hits, a stolen base, and a walk-off grand slam. Nobody has ever put up all of those in one game until Pablo Reyes.
Yeah, that grand slam was something to like. That was
Oh my
insane.
god. Yeah. Absolutely crazy. The Brewers threw a one-hitter against the Rockies. And if you're from
So-
Colorado, that's not the one-hitter I'm talking about. It's when you only give up one hit. Um, nine 9 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 1 hit, 0 walks, 16 strikeouts. And what's crazy about this one is that Ezekiel Tovar hit a first-inning home run, and then the Brewers pitchers retired the final 26 Rockies in a row.
Jeez.
Yeah, no pitcher for the Brewers in that game pitched from the stretch.
Damn. Freddie Peralta looked phenomenal.
Yeah, he looked fucking great.
Like struck out 13 and only I think was it 7 innings of work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, whew.
Yeah, and shout out Davis Schneider. His start to his career in the big leagues with the Blue Jays, hot. After his first 3 big league games, batting 692 and 1887 OPS, and put up 9 hits in his first 3 games. That tied the MLB record.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? Had a lot to do with that 13-1 win against Boston.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Good for-
Uh, but let's get into some talk about just the teams and how they sit. I'll let you take the lead here.
Yeah, I mean, so really, we mentioned it earlier. Baltimore joined Atlanta with being the only team with 70 wins, but really the wild card spots are really what we want to look at right now. So we're starting to get some more separation in the AL. With right now, you got Tampa Bay, Houston, and Toronto claiming those AL wild card spots. Seattle's 3 games back, Boston's 5 games back, and the Yankees are 5.5. Really, those are the only 3 teams that I think have a shot at taking over that last spot. Listen, at the end of the day, I think Tampa Bay and Houston, Tampa Bay is staying in the wild card. I don't see any change in that happening. Houston, I'm sort of in the same boat, but they're right there with Toronto, both 64-49, 64-50. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. Let's see. And then when we go back to the NL, you got San Fran, Philly, and Cincinnati. So, but you have 2 teams right now that are surging. Philly is surging, only 2.5 games back from claiming the top NL wildcard spot. I don't see them overthrowing the Braves, but the way the Braves have been playing recently, we're scoring a lot of offense, but our pitching is quite literally horrendous. Can I
Yeah.
get you agree?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Like Strider against Pittsburgh last night was awful. Like it's fucking Pittsburgh. You're making Connor Joe look like a Hall of Famer,
yeah,
but no. But Chicago, Miami's still in it. Like they're only 1.5 games back. We haven't really seen their trade pieces get off to a hot start yet. I think Jake Berger's had a couple 0 for 4 games since joining the team, but really it's their pitching that's keeping them in. Sandy Alcantara is looking like the Cy Young that we love and that we saw last year. Yuri Perez is about he's not back up yet, right?
no, I don't believe so.
But he I can promise you that he will be back up
Yeah,
probably in this month. We will see him back up because really the only thing that they were doing was just conserving innings when they sent him down.
yeah, and now that they're 2-8 in their last 10, they've lost 5 straight. Like they need some kind of saving grace, and I think he's it.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that's gonna help him. Like, because right now Sandy Alcantara can't do everything with how good he's been pitching. Cabrera's looking a little bit better,
Yeah,
but not great. I think next season is where we will really see him take off. Because this his second year?
yeah, I believe so.
Second year, so he's still trying to get comfortable and everything. But dude, next year when you have the 3-headed monster and Sandy Alcantara, Yuri Perez, and Cabrera, yikes.
Yeah, they're gonna be
That
good.
that's terrifying. But right now we're starting to see San Diego and the Diamondbacks really start to slip away.
Yeah, well,
Like,
San Diego kind of getting back into it almost.
yeah,
But yeah, the Diamondbacks certainly slipping away. They've lost 6 in a row. Um,
but here's the thing, they're still only 2 games back.
yeah, and the Padres, who started off the season so badly, are now only 4 games out. They're only 2 games behind the Diamondbacks.
Yeah. So it's I do want to shout out the Nationals though on a 4-game win streak.
Way to go.
CJ Abrams is starting to settle in up there that leadoff spot.
Good.
But too bad he plays on a shit team that'll never win anything in their
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
Um I think that's really it for team standings right now. But I know there are a couple players that I just want to mention and give a shout out with how well they've been playing. And one that's Bobby Witt Jr. over in Kansas City.
Oh, yeah.
The man's been slugging. I think he's on he might be on like a 10 or 11 hit streak. right now, but his extra bases right now is insane. Like he's consistently getting your doubles and hitting for power for home runs. But he has probably one of the fastest swings that I've seen in at least 3 years.
That's high praise.
Like, like I'm trying to think. Did the walk off grand slam? Did you see that swing?
Yeah,
It was a couple days ago, where that pitch was and how he somehow hit that out.
he's got an insane hit tool.
It almost hit him, Grayson,
Yeah,
and he hit it. Excuse me. It almost hit him, and he still somehow hit it for a grand slam off Johan Duran,
yep,
who threw 102 on that pitch.
yeah.
That's really about all I got.
All right, yeah. I
Any other any other players you want to shout out?
like obviously Matt Olson. He's
Yeah.
absolutely surging, especially with the home runs. What is he at now? 39.
39, but here's the thing. He's cutting down on strikeouts and he's putting the ball the other way for
Yeah,
singles and doubles. He's making a name for himself in this MVP race.
yeah. Last 7 games, or last 7 days. So last 6 games, 21 at bats. He's got 7 hits, 5 runs, a double, 3 homers, 10 RBIs. He's walked 5 times and he's only struck out 3. I couldn't ask for more out of him.
Yeah, like he's putting together a fantastic second half right now.
Yeah, and he already had a good first half. Like, yeah, the contact wasn't there, but the power was, and now he's just bringing both into it, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah, so he's making Braves fans not miss Freddie Freeman a single second.
I haven't at all.
Yeah, I've been happy with Matt Olson's production, and I think he is happy where he's at and having the time of his life.
Yeah, and I'm glad. Um, is that going to do it for the MLB?
I think so. I don't really have anything else really on the top of my head right now.
All right, then let's get into college football conference realignment. There is a whole lot going on right now, and it all kind of came out in the last week. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the new moves. We had the Big Ten has confirmed Washington and Oregon will be joining likely 2024 or 25. I'm not too sure the years, but it'll likely be 25. And then the Big 12 bringing in Colorado, Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That only leaves 4 schools in the Pac-12.
Yeah, exactly. It's Cal, Oregon State, Stanford, and Washington State. And my question to you is, are any of these teams really worthy of a spot in the Big Ten or even the Big 12?
Just so like the teams that you listed off and that have been confirmed going, is that what you're asking?
No, I mean the teams that are left.
Still in the
Yeah, like where are they going to go? Because they're kind of on track. Like you'd have to get a bunch of teams to move up
Yeah.
from like the group of 5 into Power 5 at Pac-12, and at that point, is it really a Power 5 conference?
Yeah, like it's really not. And like really the only school that I can see make a push to like do that is Oregon State.
Yeah.
But Cal, Stanford, and Washington State, I don't see joining a big conference.
No.
Like they've been at the bottom for a while.
Yeah, I think this is kind of we're pushing towards a Power 4 at this
Yeah.
point, and there's really no telling what's going to happen with the ACC. It already looks like Florida State's trying to leave. They have been for like the last year. Clemson's not very happy with the pay structure as well. Miami's kind of in the same boat. They had like half the conference on their side, just earlier this summer talking about trying to leave. So, I'm seeing that maybe the Big Ten is an option for Florida State because they're too big of a market to move to the Big 12 at this point now that Texas and Oklahoma are leaving. And if they're not happy with how things are going in the ACC, I don't think the SEC wants more teams after Texas and Oklahoma. So the Big Ten's really their only option.
Yeah, the only way they would fit in the SEC is if we cut out teams like Missouri and sorry, dude, I got something stuck in my throat.
Pause.
Ah, but wait, what?
What?
Nah, but like you take out teams like Missouri, you take a team out like Vanderbilt, but it just doesn't make sense for Vanderbilt to leave.
Yeah. It doesn't make
Um,
sense for many teams to leave the SEC.
yeah, but not like you said, it's something to stay on top of because it's definitely interesting right now.
Yeah. And another topic of conversation is Notre Dame. With everybody moving around, are they content with remaining independent? I
I
I think they're going to stay independent personally,
Yeah.
but there's still options for them to join the Big 10. It would make a lot of sense, especially geographically, which is obviously out the window, but still.
Yeah, I think it's most beneficial for them to join a conference because you win your conference, you make a better name for yourself to go out and play in college football playoffs and fight for a national championship.
Yeah,
Because
but
recently, that's what it's been over the years. Like they're winning games, but like they're not playing in conference championships. They're not doing all this.
yeah, and I think part of it, part of what helps them if they do stay independent is that college football playoff expands in 24. So it goes to
Mhm.
12 teams. And Notre Dame is perennially like a top 15, even top 10 team. So if they kind of stay in that boat, they remain independent. They have their own contracts. They negotiate everything themselves. The money comes straight to them. It doesn't go to the conference and then split up or amongst a bunch of teams. They continue to work with that, and obviously, I don't know what's going on with them and NBC because they used to have exclusive rights to Notre Dame, all of Notre Dame's home games at least, and now like NBC is part of the Big Ten's next deal. So I don't know what that really means for Notre Dame, but they can continue to negotiate for themselves if they stay independent. And I think that adds like an interesting wrinkle because of what I just said with the college football playoff expanding. They don't have to join a conference. You don't have to be a conference champion or even make a conference championship to make the college football playoff anymore once it's at 12 teams.
Yeah, yeah, like, it definitely helps with those divisions that are stacked, like, when you have teams that finish, like, 3rd and 4th and
Yeah.
the division that still only have, like, 1 loss,
Yeah,
definitely
exactly.
they get a chance and can still fight for that top 12 spot to compete. It's definitely gonna be something to get used to because it's just more football for us to watch.
Yeah,
That's where I stand with how I like it. Because at the end of the day, I'm getting more college football.
exactly. But my next thing is that, is the Big Ten going to be done at 18 teams? Because you can still kind of schedule that, but if they go to 20 by adding probably Florida State and Notre Dame, what does that look like for the Big Ten? Like it certainly shakes things up for scheduling, of course, but kind of just everything around the Big Ten changes if you add 20 teams.
Yeah, like if you have a 20-team conference, that's a lot.
Yeah,
Um, and it makes it harder for teams to fight for that spot. Cause but it's just when you look at the games, like when you look at a conference, you want to play almost everybody in your conference. At the end of the day, when you look at it, but when you have 20 people or 20 teams, that's you almost need to make, like, your whole schedule just conference games
yeah, yeah.
at the end of the day. Like,
It's crazy.
eh, like, you need to take out your cupcake games and just
Yep,
play straight. Honestly, that'd be an interesting season.
it sure would. It wouldn't be fun.
No, but, like, the Big Ten, you're, like, because top conference, you're getting conference games every week. That that makes every week the most important game to your season.
Yeah, but also I think that limits, what we see from teams. If they're not playing these teams from other conferences, how do we
Yeah.
know like how good is that conference if we haven't seen them face anybody
Yeah.
outside of it?
Yeah, like if you're not getting your Big 10 or your SEC matchups, like your Big 10 versus SEC or your Big
Yeah.
12 versus ACC and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I think that part is definitely an interesting part to look at, and then also how does this affect this changing college football playoff format? Now that we're moving to 12 teams, there's a whole lot of teams that could just go wherever they want because it's not about winning your conference; it's about being competitive and in winning games. It's not about you don't have to go undefeated. You don't have to have a one-loss season to make the college football playoff. Like if we look last year at the standings at at the end of the year in college football, there's some teams in there that arguably shouldn't have made it, and it really shakes things up.
Yeah, which I mean, it's gonna be. Yeah, it's like this. It's like the whole Tulane situation. Everybody was saying. You remember that?
Yeah,
Like how they were in the top 10. Like with this new format, we have teams like Tulane, uh, who are in the non-power five, um, get a showcase to make a name for themselves.
yeah, and yeah, let's look. So last year, college football playoff rankings, the final college football playoff ranking would have had obviously the top four that made the college football playoff, and then Bama, Tennessee, Clemson, Utah, Kansas State, USC, Penn State, and Washington.
Okay. Yeah. So see, you're adding two extra SEC schools right there.
Yeah.
What was that? Was that three Pac-12?
Yeah, Washington, USC, and Utah. And then you add Clemson and Kansas State from the ACC and the Big 12, respectively.
Wait, you said Kansas State from the ACC?
No, Clemson from the ACC,
All right.
Kansas State from the Big 12.
The way you said it said Clemson and Kansas State from the SEC.
No, I said Clemson
All right.
and Kansas State from
ACC.
the ACC and Big 12, respectively.
Okay.
But and then right outside would be Florida State, Oregon, and Tulane would have missed it as well. But I think now, because like there would have been two 3-loss teams in the playoff. There would have been Penn State, Washington, Penn State, Washington, Tennessee, and Alabama, who all didn't play in their conference championship, all would have made it. That's huge for the future
Yeah.
of college football.
Yeah. It really it gives you the mindset, like you said earlier. You don't have to win your conference championship, but you still have to win games. So like at the, like the way it has been is like if you lose a game, basically your shots have been shot.
Yeah.
So now it gives you a different perspective to look at it.
Dude, like imagine we would have gotten to see like the way the matchups would have sorted out, we would have seen Georgia, Washington, Michigan versus Penn State, a rematch, TCU versus USC, Ohio State versus Kansas State, Utah, Alabama, and then Tennessee, Clemson, which we actually got to see Tennessee, Clemson last year, but still, it would have meant something.
I think what I would have been most excited for that Washington,
Georgia. I don't know. I think Georgia still would have stopped them. Defense was just so good.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it would be an interesting matchup.
Oh, definitely. I think Ohio State, Kansas State would have been very good.
Yeah.
Especially with how good Kansas State is. Last year, how well they played TCU. There's really no telling. But, I think the future of college football, as much as we're in this chaos situation right now, I think it looks pretty bright. I think there's exciting things happening.
It's heading in the right the right direction for sure.
Yeah. So, speaking of heading in the right direction, let's talk about a conference that's obviously not the Pac-12. Um, I think, this year and next year, really this year, because USC and UCLA will be gone in 24. This is kind of the final year of the real Pac-12.
Yeah.
And I think it's serving to be pretty exciting. So let's get into our standings predictions here. Let's go read off your top four, and then I'll do mine.
All right, my top four is USC,
Yep.
Washington, Utah, Oregon.
Okay, mine's USC, Washington, Oregon, Utah.
Okay,
So we're in the same boat.
Yeah.
Okay, next four.
Next four. All right, I got UCLA, Oregon State, Colorado, Washington State.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty close to me. I've got Oregon State, UCLA, Arizona, Washington State.
Yeah. And then my final group is Arizona, Cal, Stanford.
What about Arizona State?
Did I forget them out?
Yep. You only said 11 teams. Don't worry, because Arizona State is second to last in mine, and it's a pretty safe place to put them.
I was about to say, I'll throw them between Cal and Stanford.
Yeah. And then I have Colorado, Cal, Arizona State, Stanford. I think Cal, Arizona State, and Stanford are so obviously the bottom three.
Yeah. Stanford's just been so bad.
Yeah.
Recently.
And with all the coaching changes and the issues with everything there, it's a mess. But I think with Colorado, you could honestly put them anywhere, and I'd be like, okay, I understand it.
Yeah, we won't see anything until they start playing games.
Yeah, we know nothing right now. We know that they're coached by Deion Sanders, who did a great job with recruiting at Jackson State. Obviously, transferred just about all of his good players, and the biggest being Travis Hunter and his son Shedeur Sanders. Those are going to be the biggest impact guys. But they added a ton of great players, either players that were with them at Jackson State or other guys throughout the transfer portal that came in, and they washed out all the weak links. Everybody, essentially, that was at Colorado last year that Deion didn't like, out the door.
They're playing at places like non-Power 5, like your group of 5 schools.
Yeah, for the most part. And look, I think let's kind of go back and talk about our top fours here. I think USC and Washington are the easiest picks. They have high-powered offenses, and they also have some standout defensive players.
Yeah, they're led by great quarterbacks who know the game, but like you said, just ball out and put points on the board.
Yeah, and then for Oregon and Utah, it's kind of the same thing, just a little bit lower, a little bit lesser than USC and Washington. They both have very good, very experienced quarterbacks, and they've got great players all around the field. For me, Utah, they're just a winning situation, especially it's one of the hardest environments to play in at home. So you can essentially chalk them up for undefeated at home, maybe one loss. On the road, maybe it's a different story, but they're certainly going to dominate the lower half of this.
Yeah, the way I look at it, these are two schools that need to win. They need, with them leaving, they need to make names for themselves to basically prepare for, what is it, the Big 12?
Well, Oregon's going to the Big 10. Utah's going to the Big 12.
Yeah, but basically these are their standout years. All right, especially with Bo Nix getting ready for the draft.
Exactly.
Bo Nix, which I think he's going to have a phenomenal season.
I think he is too. I don't think he'll be better than Michael Penix or Caleb Williams, but he'll have a great year.
Yeah.
But the rest of the stuff isn't very important. Yeah, Oregon State has DJ. Who knows what's going to happen there? UCLA obviously losing fucking blank on his name, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, but still have some good players around the field. Arizona going into their second year with Jaden DeLora. and then kind of the rest of the list is kind of boring other than Colorado. Let's talk about what teams we think will be ranked and kind of what range they'll be in. I'll start with USC. I think they're a top 10 team.
Yeah, I have it for both USC and Washington being top
Okay.
10.
Yeah, I think for me, Washington and Oregon are kind of in a similar place. I see
Yeah,
Washington could be anywhere from maybe 13 to
like
6.
yeah, like they have that range from like 8 to 15 that
Yeah.
they can sit in.
And then for Oregon, kind of in the same boat, more like a 15 to 8, kind of like what you just said for Washington.
Yeah,
Probably more like outside the top 10.
yeah. I was thinking like anywhere between like 10 to 15
Yeah.
is where they're sitting at.
And then my next one's Utah. And Utah could really be anywhere here, but I certainly think they'll be ranked, but they could be anywhere from 20 to 10.
Yeah, I'm sort of in the same boat.
And
But
then any other teams you think will be ranked? I've one.
I mean, it's really going to depend on the quarterback play with DJ, but
Yep.
I think Oregon State could slip into like that 20 to 25.
Yeah, I've got them anywhere from 25 to 18.
Yeah, but really, like going back, like this is with them not having a home next year, or like really being one of 4 teams still
Yeah.
in the Pac-12. This is a make your case year.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
see if you can go anywhere and get out of the Pac-12.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't see any other teams being ranked. If Colorado just miraculously looks amazing, yeah,
Yeah,
they'll be
or
ranked, but
if they come out
I
and
don't know.
steamroll teams
Yeah.
with how much hype and media is around that team, they'll easily make their way into the top 25.
Yeah, and I just want to remind everybody that TCU is not going to be good next year. So don't just be high on Colorado if they beat the brakes off TCU.
Yeah, no, because TCU's
They
the,
lost to
the
everything.
they're about to have a losing record this year.
Yeah. Oh, I'm fully aware. They'll certainly be in that position. Anybody here that makes the college football playoff?
Uh, I think really USC is my top contender
Yeah.
for the college football playoff, but Washington can definitely make a push for it.
Yeah, I think there's a chance. I think
They're
it's
they're
really
like my
just
sleeper.
it's really just USC, and they probably won't make it.
Yeah, like they're probably gonna finish around like anywhere between 5 and 7.
Yeah, most
If if
likely.
if I was to take a guess, but um, I mean, if Washington comes out and just goes undefeated, then you're looking at a 3 or 4 spot.
Yeah.
Same with USC. Really, same with if Utah was to come out and go undefeated this year.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, I think USC is the best case for the college football playoffs.
All right. Well, let's get into the positional rankings. Let's go top 3 quarterbacks. Number 1 is obviously Caleb Williams.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
No question about it. Caleb Williams.
And then, and there's really nothing to say. Heisman winner. He's going to be
Yeah.
a finalist this year. So next, though, Michael Penix, a guy who I think will also be a finalist this year.
I agree.
Yeah,
There's,
the numbers he put up last year
Yeah.
were ludicrous. It is insane what he was doing last year, and now it's what we expect. He's still got his great wide receivers, and I'm looking for another 4,500 plus yard season.
yeah. Last year he finished with 4,461 passing yards and 31 touchdowns to only 8 interceptions.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
crazy.
he led all starting quarterbacks in the Pac-12 in average depth of target with 10.1.
Beautiful.
So, and they got a better O-line this year too.
Yeah,
They got some guys in the transfer portal because really their O-line was their biggest issue on offense last year. And so with that being improved, Michael Penix is going to feel more comfortable in the pocket
yeah,
and
and
not have to scramble as much.
and as much as they used the long ball last year with a better offensive line, they're going to be able to utilize that even more.
Yeah. So DBs are going to have a problem with Washington this year.
Definitely.
That's going to be the case.
Yeah. And then my next one, I feel like I just had to go with Bo Nix because we saw
Yeah.
great things out of him last year. He's got the experience. Like, it's kind of hard to go against that.
Yeah. I got Bo Nix at the 3 spot too.
All right. Well, let's go to the running backs. There's not much to say for the quarterbacks. They all kind of speak for themselves. But
Yeah.
running back, it's a tough one. This conference isn't that great when it comes to running backs, especially recent years. And I'm interested to see who you have first.
I have Bucky Irving
Okay.
from Oregon.
Yeah.
Just I don't know, but the Oregon I would almost want to take just the Oregon running back like trio.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got Bucky Irving, Gary Bryant Jr., and Troy Franklin.
Yeah.
That's like Gary Bryant Jr. and Troy Franklin can be easily starters and in 90% of offenses in college football.
Yeah, they're all a fantastic trio together. I have Damian Martinez from Oregon State. Freshman year last year was fantastic. 161 carries, 982 yards. He had 7 touchdowns, which is kind of low for his usage, but nonetheless, he was very good. Didn't play much of a factor in the receiving game, but just purely as a running back, he looked fantastic. And since he was just a freshman last year, I can't imagine he'll be worse next year.
No, and he's just gonna get more touches.
Yeah.
But he was running like a 2 running back split, right? Because I'm pretty sure they had a different running back that was meant for like your receiving type.
Yeah, I believe so.
And so this year he's probably training to be more of a receiving type to just get him the ball more. But the dude's a beast.
Oh yeah.
So sophomore season, I'm expecting a lot from him this year.
All right. Who's your number 2?
I got Carson Steele out of UCLA.
I'm in the same boat. Transferred from Ball State, and
Yes,
the
sir.
numbers look crazy. I know he was playing at Ball State, whatever, but you can't deny those kind of numbers.
Yeah. And listen, UCLA, they lost its starting quarterback and running back. So they had to go to the portal for both. So, but listen, Carson Steele is going to take over this team's offense.
Yeah, and like the career numbers for this guy are crazy. Like in 2021 for Ball State, he had 891 yards. That was his freshman year. 2022, he rushed for 1,500 yards. He had 14 touchdowns.
Yeah. Like I remember last year his game against Georgia Southern.
Yeah,
I think he had 23 carries for 119 yards
yeah,
and like 2 touchdowns.
he's crazy.
So, yeah.
So, yeah, look out for Carson Steele on UCLA. Who's your number 3?
So I was in a boat like it's in between Damian Martinez, but also I don't want to butcher his name. Jaquindon Jackson from Utah,
Yeah, yeah, I think that's correct.
but he's like their quarterback.
Oh,
But he's basically a former quarterback who's playing running back this year.
gotcha.
So it's interesting to see. Sure. I know I made that sound like I just took a quarterback as a running back, but Utah officially announced that they're moving him, like changing positions, like on the depth chart and everything.
What is his name?
Jaquindon Jackson,
How do you spell that?
JA apostrophe
Oh, yeah,
QUINDEN.
that's what I was missing. Got it. Yeah, I've never heard of this guy.
Yeah, it's I don't think he got a lot of touches. I think he was the backup last year for
Okay.
Utah. He played during the USC game,
All right.
the first half. But the dude's a runner. Like he runs like Lamar and Justin Fields.
Interesting. Yeah, he's
So
6'2". That's a big running back.
yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. But I also have him platooning with Damian Martinez in that 3 spot.
Okay. My third guy, I'm going with Alton McCaskill, the transfer to Colorado from Houston. Just once again, a guy that put up great numbers at a great Power 5 school. And I just think, in this offense, yeah, they're going to be passing the ball quite a bit, but I think that Dion's going to like this kid. Last year, he was just a workhorse, had almost 200 carries, 961 yards. It was, I believe, his freshman or sophomore year last year. And, or actually, I think he was out last year and only played in 2021. But still, 16 touchdowns is fucking amazing. And actually was a pretty good receiver as well. 21 receptions, 113 yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. So yeah, I think he's going to be a fantastic option for this offense. And I think that the receiving side is going to be huge for him.
Yeah, I like that. I didn't pick him because I just didn't know much about him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, especially since he didn't play like at all last year, it does
yeah,
make it kind of hard to say that he'll be that good. But I really like what he offers.
yeah. It's like anything with Colorado. It's hard to
Yeah,
talk about it until we see them play together. Because we've seen what happens when you try to put a team full of superstars together. They don't gel well.
true.
So we're gonna have to see.
Yeah. But let's talk wide receivers. Who you got at number one?
Uh, Rome Odunze
Yep, same.
from Washington.
Yeah,
I
it's kind of a toss up between him and Jalen McMillan because they're both so goddamn good and they play for the same team.
Yeah, it's like I don't even know if I pronounced his name right, but no, like I have Jalen McMillan as my second
Yep,
wide receiver.
same. They're both so goddamn good, but
Yeah,
for Rome, like last year, only 75 receptions, 1,145 yards, like 15.3 yards per reception, only 7 touchdowns, but that's because he's splitting the targets with Jalen McMillan. And I just think the sky's the limit with this guy in this offense.
yeah, like he puts together even a decent year. He's gonna be a first round pick
Yeah.
in this next draft,
Yeah.
like
And
easily.
the same goes for Jalen McMillan. Last
Yeah,
year, 79 receptions, a little bit less yards with 1,098, average 13.9 per reception, but he had 9 touchdowns and a long on the season of 84 yards. So I love what these two offer. I think that they're going to be a huge part of Michael Penix's success this year and also
hmm
just Washington as a whole.
yeah, like that's because a lot of teams just have a one wide receiver guy, like
Yeah.
one guy that gets double coverage, and you still try to find him the ball. But when you got two guys who are on opposite sides of the field that are just tormenting defenses, like you got one guy who's just going to slant across the field if he's open, give him the ball, and the other guy's on a go route all the way to the end zone for a 75-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, it
we'll
looks
see. It's terrifying
yeah.
when you look at it. So all coaches that play Washington have it marked on their schedule to where they're only working on defensive practice
Oh yeah.
um leading up to that.
Well, who's your number 3? Cuz I think there's a lot of guys to choose from here.
There is. I took Dorian Singer
Okay.
out of USC.
Gotcha. Yeah, I took Jacob Cowing from Arizona.
Okay, it's just like it's hard to take anybody from Arizona,
Yeah, I know.
honestly.
Because they're not going to be that good. But I do like Jaden DeLora at quarterback. He's not bad. I just need to see like a little bit better play calling from the
hmm
offense and maybe a better offensive line. But Jacob Cowing still last year had a great game. And he's an experienced player. I think that he's going into his 5th season technically. Um, but 85 receptions, just over 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. Like last year was a great year for him, and he's had great years in the past as well.
Yeah, I mean he's gonna have to step up, especially with Singer leaving Arizona
Yeah.
because he left Arizona last fall. Um, but Singer had 66 receptions for 1,100 yards and 6 touchdowns. So I mean he got over that 1,000-yard mark. So it really, with Jordan Addison leaving USC, Caleb Williams needs a guy,
Yeah.
and Singer is gonna be that guy.
Oh yeah, for sure. And they also recruited some good wide receivers. So,
Yeah, they got a good group.
yep,
They got a great group.
for sure. Let's talk defense. There's surprisingly some good options here. You know, the Pac-12 isn't quite known for their defense, but I think there's a lot of great young players here.
Yeah. So my first pick, I'm gonna go edge rusher from Washington and Braylon Trice.
All right. Yeah, my number one is I think it's Leatu Latu
Yeah,
from UCLA.
yeah, he's my number two.
Yeah, and Braylon Trice is my number two.
Yeah, so we like this group of edge rushers,
Yeah, for sure.
monsters on the edge.
Yeah,
Um, just absolutely bulldoze. They can put the spin move on, and basically, what is it? Latu last year for UCLA recorded 36 tackles, 12 and a half for a loss, and 10 and a half sacks.
yeah, and that was after 2 years off of
Yeah,
playing
because
football.
he had a neck injury, right?
Yeah, I believe so. But he was at Washington 2019, transferred to UCLA in for 2022, and had just a fantastic year last year. Like you said, 36 tackles, 10 and a half sacks, like 3 forced fumbles.
Yeah, and I mean
Crazy.
it's the same for Braylon Trice. I mean the numbers are almost identical. 38 tackles, 12 for a loss, and 9 sacks.
Yeah.
So like
And they're both huge. I think
yeah,
Braylon's 6'4". Pretty sure Latu is 6'5", both like over 250.
but they
And they're
move
fast,
so
dude.
quick.
Yeah, they're fast.
Yeah, it's insane. They're monsters, and they're gonna be some issues for some QBs.
Yeah. But who's number 3? Because I think there's there's a little bit of a gap after these two.
Yeah, I took Travis Hunter.
Same. There's just so much potential with this kid, especially
Yeah,
being coached by Deion Sanders. He plays DB, but honestly, he also worries DBs because he can play wide receiver just as good as a lot of players.
yeah, we're definitely gonna see him on both sides of the ball this year because
Yeah.
Dion likes your two-way players.
Yeah, he did it himself.
Yeah, but let's see. Last year, he at the wide receiver spot, he had 18 receptions for just under 200 yards and 4 touchdowns. But on defensive side, he had 20 tackles with 2 interceptions. So
Yeah,
he's a guy. He's a dude.
for sure.
That's about all I can say.
Yeah, the only weak part last year was his one carry for negative 10 yards,
At
which I think was a jet sweep that absolutely failed.
least we know he's not a running back.
That's true. Yeah, we don't need to worry about him playing wide receiver,
Yeah.
corner, and running back. He
But
can just
I do
stick to
want to
two.
throw in I want to throw in an honorable mention
All right.
with Callan Bullock,
Mm.
safety from USC.
Yep,
One of the few bright spots for USC's defense last year
definitely.
because that defense was atrocious.
Yeah, that's going to do it for the Pac-12 recap. I think overall, we're going to see a pretty good season.
Yeah, I think the Pac-12 is still going to be offensive heavy.
Yeah,
Lot of scores, but the team we're going to see those defenses step up
for
as
sure.
well. So, a lot of competitive football.
All right, well, let's talk about NFL. Let's start with the 2023 Hall of Fame inductees: Rondé Barber, Darrell Revis, Joe Thomas, DeMarcus Ware, and Zach Thomas, as well as some of the guys who were a little bit older that got inducted. Um, what a group!
Yeah.
Like, wow, Darrell Revis, one of the best isolated corners in the history of the league. Joe Thomas, Zach
My
Thomas as well,
favorite.
two of the best offensive linemen. It's just, it's unbelievable. And DeMarcus Ware, just a fantastic defensive player. And excuse me, Rondé Barber, just a legend in his own right.
Yeah. I think my favorite is Joe Thomas.
Yeah, I
He
love
was
Joe
pro-
Thomas.
I used to be so tempted to get a Joe Thomas Browns jersey. he was my favorite player on the Browns with how shit that team was.
Yeah.
And I think he was the best player for the Browns.
Oh yeah, and for many years. Like I
Yeah.
saw something on Reddit about it. It was like I think he has like a career like 239 winning percentage, and he's a Hall of
Jeez.
Famer.
But the dude, like,
It's crazy.
he he did so much off the field
Yeah,
that just made him stand out across the whole like country.
yeah. And let's talk about post football. He looks insane. Like the difference is
Yeah,
insane.
the man is living his best life right now.
Oh yeah. Man is in crazy shape. Like what? Like
Yeah.
what was he playing at? He was a big boy.
I think was he like low threes?
Probably he's playing offensive. Yeah, he was playing at 6'6", 312.
Yeah.
And now
That's
like
about
he looks crazy good.
yeah. Hey, he's not playing football no more, so he's got to keep himself in shape and
True.
make sure that that beer gut stays in check.
And also I accidentally called Zach Thomas an offensive lineman. He was a middle linebacker. I don't know
Yeah.
why I
I don't
said
know.
that.
I think you got in a groove. You were talking about Joe Thomas,
Yeah.
and then you went over to Zach Thomas, thinking that they were both top dog linemen.
Yeah. But nonetheless, yeah, such a fantastic class. Rondé Barber had a beautiful speech, talked about saving seats at the ceremony, that which he genuinely did reserve seats for a couple of the players that we unfortunately lost over the past couple of years. But we also, with this class being inducted, that means we look forward to the 2024 class, and we've got a good list of eligible players. First-time eligible guys like Eric Berry, Jamal Charles, Antonio Gates, Brandon Marshall, Haloti Ngata, and Julius Peppers. This is a fantastic group.
Yeah, I think two names that really stand out to me is Eric Berry and Antonio Gates.
What about Julius Peppers? I think he's a shoe-in.
Yeah, no, for sure. But like, I think when it comes to it, Eric Berry and Antonio Gates really stand out the most with how much they contributed to their team.
Yeah.
Like Antonio Gates with the Chargers, he was Philip Rivers' main guy.
Oh, yeah. Crazy good.
Like, and like probably one of the best blocking tight ends that I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
And then Eric Berry, who's just a hawk at the safety spot.
Yeah. But, yeah, Julius Peppers, I think, easy first ballot guy. I don't really see Jamal Charles and Brandon Marshall making it.
No,
I don't think they
not
had like sustained success in the league.
so Jamal Charles, the way I look at it, he had a prime,
Yep.
but then his career just started going downhill really fast.
Yeah, it did.
Um, but also we got a couple food names in here too. I mean, we got Barry, we got Peppers. You
That's
know,
it.
I kind of like it. Kind of like it. I like adding a little mix.
It'd be an interesting combination.
Pepper and berries.
Yeah.
Hey, you got pepper jelly.
I guess. Yeah. Yeah,
Shit,
that's not
shit's
bad.
gas.
It
Throw
is
that on a
gas.
Ritz cracker.
Facts, dude. Throw it on top of the cream cheese and then kind of scoop it. Fantastic. But because obviously the Hall of Fame was last week, we also got the Hall of Fame game, the start of football, and drew in an average of 6.3 million viewers. That's the most viewed Hall of Fame game since 2018.
Wow.
So it looks like football is back, baby. And because football is back, that means Hard Knocks is back. It
Let's
actually debuts
go.
tonight as we're recording at 10 p.m. on Max. And we already saw a little clip. Aaron Rodgers calling a play for Zach Wilson. I can't wait. I've got to make an interesting confession here. I've never watched Hard Knocks before.
Neither have I.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'm certainly watching it this year. As
Yeah,
as an Aaron Rodgers guy,
yeah.
I have to.
I think quarterback really
Yep,
got me invested into these
definitely.
kind of shows. So like I always watch Last Chance U. Um, and then now we got quarterback, and now we got Hard Knocks. Like, I'm loving what we're doing on the television, on the TV side.
Yeah, shout out NFL Films. They do a
Yeah.
fantastic job. But with all this happening, that means the preseason gets started, and it starts Thursday with Texans, Patriots, and Vikings, Seahawks, and we got games Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
I love it. We're back, baby.
We are back. Though it's kind of fake football,
Yeah.
we're going to see some real starters out there. Doug Peterson wants to play the starters, and that starts with Trevor Lawrence on Saturday. DeMeco Ryans confirmed that C.J. Stroud is going to start on Thursday. Baker Mayfield, the Bucs released that Baker Mayfield will start week 1 of the preseason. Kyle Trask will start week 2 of the preseason. I'm sure we'll see both of them in both games, plenty. But this is interesting. You know, maybe this is Baker's just like they're giving him a shot because he's the veteran, or he is actually out in front. I know we saw reports that Kyle Trask was kind of leading, but there's really no telling. Things change very quickly.
Yeah. I mean, it's whoever gets hot.
Yep.
Like, whoever's got the hot hand at QB. Like, we've seen it over in San Francisco when you have a three-way battle with people. I mean,
Exactly.
whoever just steps up and can earn that trust with the coach is gonna take the field.
Yep. And speaking of San Francisco, Kyle Shanahan said that it is unlikely that Brock Purdy plays in their preseason opener. He'll continue to practice, continue to move forward from this injury, but he's in good shape. He's throwing the ball. He's practicing a ton. He's going to be, I think his restrictions are all being pulled later this week. So he's going to be good to go, just not for the preseason opener, meaning we'll probably see Sam Darnold. I certainly have not seen good things about Trey Lance. So it'll most likely be Sam Darnold to start that one. And then Mike McCarthy said he's likely going to sit Dak for the whole preseason, but also said he's not sure. So it's Mike McCarthy. I don't expect anything else.
We're just trying to limit the interceptions early on.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Don't want to get him started off with a couple of interceptions in the preseason. But the Cowboys also they keep having to remind Micah Parsons to be careful around the quarterbacks. He ran into Dak's legs last week, and they weren't too happy about it. But Micah said, "I get warnings every day, but I've always been wanting to push towards that line." So I
love
think
it.
Micah Parsons is just a monster.
I love it. Listen, the only way you're gonna get your quarterback ready for this long season is to just go ahead and start beating on him.
What? Hold on.
You know what I mean.
Okay. Well,
Listen, practice. We want to talk about going full speed.
Okay. Let's move on.
No, you know what I'm talking about,
I
right?
know what you're talking about, but it certainly sounds the other way.
Okay.
Let's move on, though. Trevor Lawrence told reporters that he declined an opportunity to be on season 2 of quarterback. He said, "I feel like it's just not the right time for me, maybe in the future." I kind of get it. Look, he's still a very young player,
Yeah.
and, going through a point in his career where it's kind of, make it or break it. This is that point now. Going into your 3rd season, you're either going to be successful or you're not. And from what we saw last year, he's gonna, but there's really no telling. Things change. Players just all of a sudden will fall out of favor.
Yeah. Listen, like you said, this is his year. He's got the weapons to be a contending football team.
Yeah.
You got Ridley back, who is going to be your wide receiver 1. Evan Ingram, who's still more of a wide receiver than a tight end.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Do they still got Chark, or is Chark?
I don't know, but they do have Zay Jones and
Zay
Christian
Jones.
Kirk still.
Yeah. Okay. I just couldn't remember if Chark he's been like halfway around the league so far.
Yeah, there's no telling where he's at.
But I love the way he thinks. Like, Trevor Lawrence, his mind's already active for the season. Like, he's got one thing on his mind, and that's a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, listen, go get your bag, T-Law.
Exactly. Couple of acquisitions. The Panthers signed veteran edge rusher Justin Houston to a 1-year deal. I think that's a solid move. Just pick up some depth. The Vikings signed wide receiver N'Keal Harry. Kind of the same thing. Solid wide receiver, and you get some depth there at the position behind Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. And then the Saints are working out Kareem Hunt and Anthony Barr. Yeah, interesting. I think Kareem Hunt mainly because of Alvin Kamara's, I think it's a 4-game suspension that he got. Maybe it's
Yeah,
3.
it's a 3 or 4.
Okay. And
But
then Anthony
don't they already have
Barr.
they have
Oh,
a
sorry.
set
Yeah,
they
they
have
have
another
Jamal Williams as well.
that's what it is,
But
yeah.
if you're going to be missing Alvin Kamara, you go out, get a pretty good receiving running back anyway.
Yeah, because I mean, Jamal Williams is just gonna take over what, Mark Ingram did.
Yeah, exactly.
He's your goal line running back.
Yep. And then going for Anthony Barr is just kind of like used to be a good player, might still have it in him.
Yeah, and, the Patriots just signed free agent Trey Flowers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, who was on their last 2 Super Bowl teams.
Yeah. That's a good
So
move.
so he's back. That literally happened, like, 42 minutes ago.
Awesome. All right, last thing for the NFL news. This is just some kind of funny I saw. The Jaguars' new $120 million headquarters has urinals that measure a player's hydration levels.
Huh.
That's
That's
so
kinda
weird.
that's kinda sick, though.
It's cool, but it's also like I want to know how it displays it. Like, is there like it just like goes
There's
into a database, or it just like flashes up on a screen while you're
it
pissing?
I think there's just, like, a little screen at the top.
That's
Like, and
so
just
weird, dude.
like, you walk in, you see the person that just left, you're like,
Yeah.
"Damn, bro, you dehydrated."
Yeah, like fuck. It shows like a
Like, "Hey
percentage.
hey, go get some liquids in you, my guy."
Yeah, man. Go hit the water cooler.
Yeah, that's that's funny.
Yeah, that is very interesting. Maybe it's got a PED tester in there too.
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me.
That'd be crazy. You're getting PED. You're getting drug tested every time you take a piss. Every time you take a piss. Like, think about this being your job. Like, you're at work, and every single time you piss, it's just like, yep, you failed. Oh
See
my god.
see this person in the office right now.
Yeah.
Fucking there's just, like, the red alarm goes off and, like,
Yeah.
alert throughout the whole building.
Like, somebody like runs in the bathroom and like escorts you to an office. Like, you're coming with me. All right. I think that's
Ah,
going to do it for the NFL news. Let's get into Stake Your Claim, and then we'll get out of here. Colin, would you like to start it off? I know you haven't gotten to do a Stake Your Claim in a while.
you know, I haven't got to do one in a while, and I've been trying to think of, like, a good one, and I think I got one.
All right. Hit me.
Lamar Jackson is gonna throw for 4,000 yards and win NFL MVP.
All right. His second MVP.
Yup.
You think he's going to earn the money?
Yeah, I think he is.
All right. I love it.
Yeah, and, like, the way we look at it, so right now and I don't think the Ravens are gonna be done getting wide receivers throughout the season.
Okay.
I think they're gonna keep adding, but right now you have Odell, you got Rashad Bateman, who's hurt right now, but was looks like he's gonna be back just in time for the season. You got Zay Flowers.
Love him.
You still have Mark Andrews, who is an elite top 3 tight end in the league. But you also got guys like Nelson Aguilar, Devin Duvernay, Laquan Treadwell. I mean, you got a good group of wide receivers right now that I
Definitely.
think is only gonna help Lamar.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I think that Lamar is kind of primed for a good season. He's kind of got the pressure on him with the contract,
Yeah.
but if we can see a full healthy year out of him, there's going to be no excuses. He's either got to do it or he's not gonna, and it's going to look like a waste of money.
Yeah, because I mean, the running back situation over in Baltimore is not good.
No.
So, like right now, your top guy is J.K. Dobbins, and then you got Gus Edwards.
Yeah, and J.K. Dobbins is not very happy with his contract. So
Yeah, but so I think Lamar using his legs is going to help build an MVP uh sort of sheet, and then but you're going to be forced to throw the ball a lot more because all the defenses know that Lamar likes to run, so they're going to be trying to prevent that, which is going to open up Zay Flowers for a 65-yard touchdown. It's going to open Odell across the middle. Like, I like the passing game in Baltimore this year. I really do.
yeah, I like it as well. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do mine. I could have said this when we did the Pac-12 preview, but I want to save it for this. I believe that the Pac-12 will be the most exciting conference to watch this season. I'm not saying it's going to be the best conference. Obviously, the SEC and the Big Ten are going to have great teams in it and all that. But with all the storylines coming from conference realignment, everybody's leaving. There's only 4 teams left. All of that, like that's going to just play into it. The wealth of quarterback talent in this conference this coming year is going to be a huge thing as well. Dion at Colorado is going to be talked about all season, and whatever else comes out of this season. Like there's a lot of things that we could see develop throughout the year. What team's going to surprise us, either good or bad? What quarterback is going to emerge out of nowhere? What offense is going to look really good? Like all sorts of stuff is going to continue to come out with the Pac-12. We're going to see how this new TV deal works, kind of behind the scenes look. But everything with this conference, it's going to be very exciting to follow. It's going to be good football, and it's going to be real fun to just pay attention to.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I said it earlier that it's going to be very competitive this year.
Yeah.
So I like that.
All right. Well, Colin, it was a pleasure.
Yeah, man, a lot of fun today.
Truly, I'm surprised we're still standing.
Yeah, we're so close to football. I think that's the only thing that got me through this episode.
Yeah,
like I'm excited.
It definitely wasn't the 20 ounces of Red Bull and coffee that got me through this.
Yeah, no, that was a painful night.
Yeah, it certainly was, but we got through it. We both woke up this morning, which was a pleasure in its own right. And as always, I just want to remind you guys the sacrifices we made to make this episode. We were up all night at work. We come home, we go to sleep, we get up, and we take notes. We record this podcast so that you guys get to enjoy it. And now you got to make some sacrifices for us. You got to sacrifice about 5 seconds of your time by going to all of our social media platforms, clicking that follow button. You want to stay up to date on everything? You better follow that Instagram. You better follow Twitter, TikTok, everything. Then, while you're listening to this podcast on whatever platform you're on, go ahead and give us a follow. Give us a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple. Whatever. Go on Spotify, play 3 random episodes if you're an Apple listener, and then you can do a review. Leave us a review on there as well. Fuck it. Bend the rules however you'd like to show your support for us and sacrifice just a couple minutes of your time. And then go to YouTube, click play, let it play for like 5 seconds, and then leave if you already listened to it. I don't care what you do, but I do want to see y'all's support. So with that being said, I'll see y'all later this week. Colin will see y'all next week.
Yes,
Peace.
sir.